Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. First of all, let me take my hat off to you. I have no idea why anybody would want to do politics. Absolutely. You're carved from a different kind of cloth. But I'll tell you, for about 25 years, I've prayed, God, I don't want to be a politician, but I want to influence politicians. See, I was more sensible. I got on the safer side of the fence. But thank you for being willing. When I think of I pray for you every day, by the way, every single day. I pray about policy, public policy. I pray for courage. I pray for conviction. I pray for your protection. And I've actually started a young emerging leaders forum that I think that in the past we never quite groomed politicians into place. Yet it took God 18 years to groom a man to redeem people who had been in oppression for 430 years. He's never in a hurry. So as we speak on character today, it's a non-negotiable character. God makes the man before he makes the ministry. Because the individual is just as important, if not more important than the job. It's who you are that you take onto the job. Importantly, in Psalm 78, verse 70 to 72, the Lord made this statement. He said he needed somebody to shepherd his people. He needed somebody to lead, to become the lead politician for his people. And he found a young man in a sheepfold called David. And he himself says this. He says, I called him based on two things. This was the criteria. This was the mandate for him. He says, I looked out for two things. He said that he might shepherd Israel by the integrity of his heart, character, and the skillfulness of his hands, competence. Ladies and gentlemen, those criteria for God's votes have never changed. And it's important to see that he put character before he put competence. There is also a scripture that talks about, I haven't eaten lunch this afternoon, so if I do a lot of arms and I get things wrong, please forgive me. It's all this man's fault right there. But he talks about how just a dead fly in the which falls in the ointment of the apothecary makes it sting. It takes just a little bit. I'm also going to give you another undergirding. Character has to do with authenticity. It has to do with who you really are, and none of us here, if you're a Christian, are normal or mere people. Indeed, Paul talks to the Corinthian church and says, if there's strife and conflict among you, are you not mere men? I was driving yesterday and I thought, hang on a minute, there's nothing mere about me. It's my nature that defines who I am. And because I carry God, there is nothing mere. And what Paul was trying to drive home is, your behavior can't be like other people. What differentiates a Christian politician from a non-Christian one is not the word Jesus. It's the nature they carry. And all of us behave according to the nature that we carry. Thank God for your lives that you're taking Christian culture or kingdom culture and values into the workplace. One day God said to me, he said, Celia, I want to remind you of something. He said, men may see things on the outside, but remember that you're dealing with the spiritual world, and nobody can fool the spiritual world. Nobody can deceive the spiritual world. What you do in secret, whilst human beings may never see it, the enemy sees it, and he waits for his time. First thing I want to say to you today is, let every decision you make from this day forth, small, big, let it be informed by where you want to be tomorrow. Because tomorrow soon catches up with us. A lot of politicians have been unraveled by their past. If we all only knew today that we were going to be here today, maybe we would have lived our lives differently. I wish I had a different kind of testimony from my past. Number two, Jesus made an important statement. He says the enemy comes in, he has nothing in me. In other words, he can't find anything in me because Paul says this. He said, being ready to avenge all disobedience when your own obedience is fulfilled. There is nothing like a politician who is spirit-filled but not living a spirit-filled life. I want to also encourage you. It's important to take your weaknesses to God very, very early. I think of a man like Samson. This is a great man whose birth was prophesied. In fact, whose victories were prophesied. God said he would be for the rising and the rising of and the victories of Israel over the Philistines. And yet, what is it that makes a man who has been... And you know the story with Delilah. He goes first time and several times Delilah tries to get him to give his secrets away. And he never does. But Delilah is shrewd. She waits her time and she understands. Every man has his moment. Finally, she wrings the secret out of him. Of course, the enemy pounces on him. But thankfully, he is not killed. Guess what he does the following day? He heads back to Delilah. Next day, what does he do again? She repeats the same pattern. Third day, where does he head back to? Delilah. I've stopped saying nasty things about Samson. I thought that's me right there. Every habit you don't deal with now, ruthlessly, will become a snare for you. If the enemy can't get you one way, he will dig a snare for you. My prayer for you is that you take daily habits to God. Daily habits. Habits of indiscipline. You guys have to watch what you say all the time. Even the habit of a loose tongue. The habit of a runaway imagination and mindset. Yesterday we were learning something about pornography. It doesn't start in one day. It starts as an imagination. It's a secret place. Nobody sees it. There's nothing wrong with what I think. But all of us live out inevitably what we think. Please take little habits that are innocuous, not look harmful right now. Take them to the Lord in prayer. There's a reason also why God says that share your weaknesses with one another. The first thing every politician should do is, who's praying with you? And who's praying for you? You must understand you're getting into a spiritual arena. Isaiah 14 says the enemy is interested in cities. He's held in a prisoner. The moment you decided to go into local government or politics, you already took your place in the battle. Whether you like it or not, whether you can war or not, whether you believe in spiritual warfare or not, you're already frontline. He's going to take you out in a second if you don't have a robust prayer life. There's something good about prayer. Because once you're vulnerable before God, you give him a chance to deal with all those weaknesses too. He's the one safe place for you. In this era of moral dwarfs, leaders need to be moral authoritarians. You know when you're not living something but you're saying it, there is no authenticity behind it. And when there's no authenticity, it lacks power. Can God trust you? One of the things that I was just saying to the business track a few minutes ago about David was this. God punished David harshly when he killed Uriah and he slept with Bathsheba. And it wasn't the act of adultery or fornication or the act of murder that really incensed God. God made one statement. He said, David, the sword will never leave your house because what you have done sends the wrong message to my enemies. They think this is how I am. You're representing God on a large platform. Are you representing him right? Or are you representing him wrong? He's interested. As I finish off, what about Daniel? In the days of trouble and in the days where there was a clash of values and ethics, the first thing he did was go back to his habit. And his habit was always fellowship with God. When the government weighs down and public opinion weighs against what you believe, what's the first thing you do? These are things that make for character. It's that internal nature that drives every activity, every thought, every behavior. Non-negotiable. What about Naboth? So as I end, I'm going to challenge you with this thought. What is it going to take to floor you? What is it going to take to buy you? What is it going to take for you to betray the cause? And what is it going to take for you to stand? If you don't decide your values now, you'll be game for anything. Naboth made one statement. As Ahab and his wife Jezebel threatened him, he made a statement. He said, God forbid that I should let you have the inheritance of my fathers. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, you don't make that decision on the spur. That's decades, layers of a conviction that says, what I have to handle is too precious. That which is entrusted in your care as political leaders is the destiny of nations. It's the hopes of the kingdom coming on the earth where you are. It's to see the blood and the toil of many intercessors as they pray for our nation, that God will use you to cause that which is hanging in the heavens to be earthed. It's the legacy of children yet unborn. At the last election I had a little privilege of, I decided I'm going to vote differently. It wasn't a partisan for me. Sorry, neighbor. No, really. Sorry, the other side too. But it wasn't partisan for me. It was, I'm going to examine this personality that I'm voting for. What does he stand for? I don't want to vote for a person who says they're going to help the poor, who's never given to a charity in their life. I want to know how you treat your employees. We're still talking about character. You become that politician long before you occupy office. How do you treat people? What are you known for? Is your zip up? Or is it in danger of coming down every time you see a skirt? Not you, of course, present company exempted. I'm saying, I think also in the time to come, people are going to wise up. We're not going to be voting for personalities. At least my prayer is that God open our eyes to examine who we're putting our hopes for the future into. That's what you represent. Let every decision you make be informed by God. And so this is how I pray for. God give them the moral fortitude and the courage, like Naboth had, to stand by the ethics and the values they believe. And Father, influence every choice and every decision you make. The Lord keep you and deliver you from every snare. Our hopes are on you, and those hopes are not displaced. The Lord bless the work of your hands. Amen.